Hi everyone, and welcome to another video. My name is Tia from DevOps Easy Learning, and today we'll be going through keyboard symbol, right? Why keyboard symbol? I basically noticed that even there are some students that they will shows up at DevOps Easy Learning, and when we start the program, they will kind of struggle a lot with this keyboard symbol because they don't really understand what those symbol means. And let's say you are going through a Linux class, a lot of time as the class is online, you might kind of ask a student to do something and you just call the name and they will not be able to really understand exactly what you mean, right? And also I've seen this also in the real world. Let's say your coworker basically have an issue, and when you kind of call him through Team or Zoom or any communication tool out there and ask him to share his screen, and when he will share that, and sometimes when you're trying to give him some guideline to follow or some direction, and you will call some keyboard symbol to use, and the person will not be able to understand exactly what you are saying, right? And the person, it is in IT though, which is a little bit which is not great, right? And that is basically why we kind of decide to put a course to go through keyboard symbol to also kind of help our student and also those who are not IT, who doesn't know anything in IT, and maybe they want to change and move into IT, right? You need to start with a base and start maybe with a keyboard and kind of learn how to understand exactly how we use this keyboard and the name of every single stuff that you can see on the keyboard, right? Because if you want to move into Linux is what is a command line based program. That means it is an OS, but we basically use a CLI and not a graphical user interface, right? And everything that we're doing in Linux, we basically use our keyboard and our mouse, and we are tapping everything through a terminal. And you need to really understand what all those keyboard symbols mean, so that sometime if somebody call you over the phone and say press pound, press pipe, press the ampersand, that you know exactly what that means, right? Now, if you kind of move to the next page here, we will have here keyboard symbol. First of all, start here with the mouse, because this can happen. Please, this video, it is for absolutely beginners. That means if you understand this, you know this already, you don't need to watch this video, right? This is for those who are trying to get into IT and they want to learn how to use the keyboard. They want to learn every symbol that we can have on the keyboard, right? And maybe how to use those. Right now, you don't really know how to use those, but at least you need to understand. And when somebody call the name, how can you get that and where can you find it? And that is the goal. I'll go ahead also, and I have something called a pick pen that I usually use when I'm doing stuff and I can draw online. Let me go ahead when I'm online. Let me go ahead and open that little program, and I'll grab that a pick pen. And it is right here. I'm going to grab it and basically drop it on my second monitor. And here, this is basically kind of what we call it look like this is too big. Let me go ahead and kind of erase this one and pick up another one. Here, this is actually what we call a mouse here. And when you are really new in IT and you want to learn Linux, you basically need a keyboard and also a mouse, right? Because I've seen students trying to learn Linux with their laptop, and they are trying to use the keyboard that come with a laptop, right? You are going to struggle a lot if you want to do that. Please go ahead and kind of purchase a mouse and also a keyboard. And the keyboard that I have here, basically this one here, it is like a little bit expensive and a little bit advanced because they support Mac and also Windows at the same time, right? As you can see here, this keyboard here have like one, you can take 1, 2, and 3 computers here, and the mouse is the same. If you see, this mouse also can take up to 3 computers, where you can switch to the first, switch second, and switch here third, right? And the good thing here is that it doesn't really matter if you have Windows or Mac OS, right? You can basically connect this keyboard on both and use one keyboard and one mouse to manage 3 computers at the same time. And if you're interested and you want to buy this keyboard, please let me know in the link of let me know in the description of this video, and I'll go ahead and check the link on Amazon and basically put it in there, and you can just click on the link. And if you want to order one, that is fine. But if you don't have enough money, please do not go ahead and purchase this now, because it is a little bit expensive, right? Both are almost $220. Or you can go ahead and buy something like this less than $30, and that is going to do the same thing, right? But here, if you just want to if you have multiple computers, like 3 computers, and you want to manage all those computers with just one single keyboard and mouse, you can go ahead and do that. Let's see, on this keyboard here, this is basically what we have: the left click here, and here this is the right click. Basically, what happened is that with some of our students, when they just join and they are still really brand new, and sometimes you even say left click, they don't understand what you mean, and you say right click, sometimes they don't even understand what you mean. Especially this one here that we call a scroll wheel. With a scroll wheel, sometimes you are online and you ask a student to hold the scroll wheel of the keyboard and maybe drag something and drop. They don't understand. You say, oh, okay, press the left, maybe the left click and hold down, or the right click and hold down. Some does not really understand, right? And that is the purpose of this video. We want to go through all this. And if you are somebody who wants to transition in IT, please go ahead and watch this video, because it's going to help you a little bit. Now, let us dive in here. We have our keyboard here, especially in Linux. This one here, you must know this. And we call this a navigation panel. And when we talk about navigation panel, right, let's say you are on Windows operating system. If you want to move around, what are you going to use? You can use your mouse. You can go everywhere you click. You can move up and down. But with Linux, you are going to use this navigation panel a lot, right? We call this one here the up arrow. It's here the down arrow, and here this is the right arrow, and here it is the left arrow, right? And this is what we basically use to navigate through the command line, right? And we also use this to recall some previous command that we typed already so far. For instance, if you kind of clean this up and open a little terminal here, this is a terminal for Linux. If you go ahead and kind of type a very basic Linux command here, right? When I type this, as you can see here, I have the cursor here that is basically blinking. And sometime when you are when you ask a student that, hey, go ahead and press the up arrow to record the previous command that you type like this, they don't understand what the up arrow mean, right? And the up arrow in Linux, this is what it's doing. It will basically go ahead and record the previous command that you typed so far, and you can use the left arrow to move to the left, and you can use the right. Let me write a bunch of stuff here. As you guys can see, I can now use my right. I can move to the right, and that is what it's doing here with my left arrow, and I can move to the left here with my left arrow, right? And if I use the up arrow, I can go ahead. If it's a document that I open, I can use the up arrow to move up and use the down arrow to basically move down, Now, let's see here. If you move here with this keyboard symbol, we have this. And what does all this mean? This little symbol here, it is called a tilde. This little symbol here is called a tilde. And in Linux, this is used heavily, right? When you ask a student, please go ahead and press tilde. Sometimes when you say tilde, they don't understand exactly what you mean when you say press a tilde. And where is it located on the keyboard itself? If you check here, as you guys can see here, this is exactly where that tilde is located right here. This is a tilde. And right here on this particular keyboard here, this is a tilde here, right? This is the tilde. And when we ask tilde, we ask the student, please go ahead and press tilde on your keyboard. And usually, where do we basically use that tilde? Let's say I want to move, I am in Linux, and I basically want to move like into my home directory. I can just say cd, and I say tilde, and I press that tilde, right? Which means move to your home directory. And this is something that if you are not a Linux guy now, you will not understand what I just typed here. This is going to kind of take me to my home directory, right? Because in Linux, cd, when we say tilde, it basically means home. When we say ls, to list everything that we have in our home directory, we say tilde, it is going to show us exactly what we have in our home directory. And that is what that tilde is used for. And you need to understand what that tilde is, right? Now, let me go back again. Another one here is going to be a back quote, a back quote. Sometimes you ask somebody, hey, press a back quote on your keyboard. The person will not know what a back quote is, right? If you're an IT guy, you need to know all these keyboard symbol, right? Don't go somewhere when you are at work and you share your screen, because there is nobody, the person is not there to press a particular button on your keyboard for you. He's going to give you instruction to execute something, to do something. And you need to understand how to follow this instruction properly. Don't be the one that I've seen something like this. When somebody is trying to ask somebody to do something on the keyboard, the person will not understand. And he will have to go to Google and Google the keyboard, right? Google the keyboard and kind of go there and say, this is what I want you to do. And go there and say, okay, on this keyboard, this is where the backward is located. And the person is going to do this. Go to the keyboard, Google the keyboard, and say, hey, this is where the backward is located, for instance, right? This is where the backward is located. I want you to press this button here to get this backward. When somebody, and you are an IT professional, let's say you are an IT professional, you are working already, and you are working with your coworker, and your coworker basically Google all these keyboards, Google the keyboard to show you all this, or every time that he's working with you, that is not nice, right? This is where you should start. Same thing. Let's say you travel from one country to another, and you where you are going, basically the right there, it is a different language. What are you going to do? You need to learn that language first. If you don't learn it, you are going to struggle there your entire life, and that is correct. I myself, I move here. When I move in US, I have to learn English, right? Because English is not my first language. French, it is my first language, and I have to learn that. Same thing here. If you want to move in IT in high level, you want to learn Linux, you need to understand this keyboard very well and know how to use the keyboard efficiently, right? Know all the symbol and know the purpose of that. And that is going to help you a lot. And like this, and that, like I said, this one here is called a backward. And what is it used for? In Linux, we kind of use a backward to do a lot of stuff, right? Like I have a terminal here. How did I even get that backward? That backward, I just need to click on that button, and it will give me the backward. And how can I access the tilde? Because sometimes, right, a student also, a lot of folks, they will see this, but they will not know how to access those. Let me go ahead and kind of show you guys how to access everything. Within your keyboard, everything that is located right here, that means all this stuff here, you can press on this button here. It is going to give you 1. If this is 1, let me erase. If you want to get 1, you can just press on this button. If you want to get this, you can just press on this. That's fine. If you want to get 3, you can just press on this button. But everything that is above the keyboard here, if you just press on this button, it is not going to work. How are you going to get tilde? How are you going to get %? How are you going to get @ how are you going to get the £, right? You need to make sure that you press on Shift and you hold it down. And when you press on that shift, you can go ahead now and press on any one. And let's say you want to get a pound sign, you press shift, you hold down, and you can press number 1 here, number 2 here to get at, number 3 here to get a pound sign, number 4 here to get a dollar sign. And if you just press on this, it's going to give you theta. And if you're on Mac, you need to use the command, right? The command, and go ahead and press this to get theta. Command, press on, hold on, press on this one to get the at symbol, and so on. Let me repeat, everything that is located up here, you need to use shift in window to access that. And on Mac, you need to use command to access that, right? Like I said, this keyboard here, it is a great one, because you can use it to work on Mac and also on Windows. You can see this is option, command, option, control. All this stuff here are for Mac, right? Now, let me go ahead and kind of access those elements. What does that mean? That means when I open my terminal here, I just go ahead and press this. It gives me the backward. If you say shift and press on that that one below escape, it is going to give me the theta. And if you want to get N%, that shift 3, shift 4, it gives me the dollar sign, and shift 7, it gives me something that we call the M%, right? Now, let's move on here. Let's move on. Here, what is an exclamation point? When you see this, what does this mean? This is an exclamation point, right? And what is this symbol mean? I know everybody might know this one, because we always, like every time that you are online, they say, what is your email? You give your email, you say at gmail.com, at yahoo.fr, at this. Everybody can know this particular symbol. But this one, not a lot of people will know this, right? And this is called an M%, right? Every time that somebody say, hey, go ahead and press M%. And we use this M% a lot also in Linux. Let's say we want to run some process at the background, we can go ahead and use M%. And another one here that is used a lot in IT is called this one, asterisk. I know a lot of folks will know this name called asterisk for this, and star, press star. When you're on the phone, sometimes they say, okay, go ahead and do this. When you are done, press pound or press star, right? And in IT, the name that we use a lot here is called a wildcard. A wildcard. A wildcard in IT, in Linux, mean everything. Wildcard in IT or in Linux mean everything. And we use this wildcard to kind of create something like subdomains, all right? Let's say our domain, our main domain is DevOpsEasyLearning.com. We can create subdomains from the main domains, and we can basically use this wildcard. And also with the wildcard, we can go ahead, or the star or the asterisk, we can go ahead and copy file or do a lot of cool thing in Linux, right? Every time, sometimes when you say, okay, go ahead and print, use the wildcard or use star or use asterisk, some student will not really know what it means, right? And that is what it means. And we basically have that on the keyboard. If you basically look for number 8, you are going to see that wildcard there. And this is another one here, heavily used in Linux, called a pipe. A pipe. A pipe is used in Linux heavily. Let's say you want to take a command. You want to take an output of a command and pass it as input as to another command. That is where you use a pipe, right? And when we want to kind of type some advanced command in Linux, such as cut command, add command, grep command, and so on, we will go ahead and use a pipe. And most of the time, we basically notice that there are a lot of folks, when you say, hey, go ahead and press pipe on the keyboard, they don't even know what pipe is. They don't know where to find pipe, right? Let me go ahead and kind of show you guys where you can look for pipe on your keyboard. here, if you move on here, this is the keyboard here. And the pipe that I'm talking about, it is here on the keyboard. When somebody say, hey, go ahead and press pipe, please make sure that you are taking this. This is the pipe symbol. On this keyboard, this is the pipe symbol, which means you need to press Shift and go ahead and hit this. It will give you the pipe symbol, right? And if you want to get it on this keyboard, this will be the pipe symbol. If you want to get this pipe symbol, you press Shift, you hold down, and you hit this, and it's going to give you the pipe symbol, right? And there is something here now that we use also a lot in IT, in Linux, and so on. And this one is called what? A double quote. A double quote. You want to put something in quote, right? And somebody say, hey, go ahead and press a double quote or press a single quote down here. This is a single quote, and this one here, it is a double quote. A double quote and a single quote. And how can you just get that on your keyboard? If you pull my keyboard, if you just pull anything here, like a terminal, I can just go ahead here. If you press Shift and press that, it gives me that one. Is what we call a double quote. And this is what we call a single quote, right? Here, I don't need to press Shift if you are on Windows, and here I don't need to press anything. And if you're on Mac, I need to press Command before kind of pressing that specific button here, right? Let us go ahead and kind of see what is next. A dollar sign. I know everybody know this one. I myself, when I get in this country, this was the first thing that I was able to kind of pronounce it in English. That was dollar sign, right? I mean, if everybody know this one. If you ask even my grandma, what is dollar sign? Where can I even show me dollar sign on the keyboard? Yeah, for sure. They are going to show you, right? And for sure, I know this. Now, here we have another one here called question marks. We have this one here called question mark. When somebody just say, hey, press, I need here question mark, that you should know what it is. And here it is open or left parentheses. Open or left parentheses. This one is close or right parentheses, right? Close or right parentheses, because you are typing something and somebody is online and say, okay, just go ahead and open the left parentheses or close, just go ahead and close the parentheses. You should understand. You just go ahead and say, hey, use the curly brace, use parentheses. You should understand what parentheses is. Hey, use the curly brace. You should understand what curly brace basically mean. Go ahead and use the curly brace. Go ahead and use bracket. Go ahead and use bracket, right? Go ahead and use bracket. You need to understand what is all these parentheses, what is bracket, what is open, what is the left parenthesis, what is the right parenthesis, and what is the curly brace, right? What is a bracket? What is a dot or period? Dot or period. When you're doing something, yeah, at the end, go ahead, put period or put dot. Usually we don't use period too much in IT language. We usually use this term called a dot, right? Like this one here, a lot of people know that it is star or asterisk, but in IT world, we call this one a wildcard. A wildcard. Go ahead and press and just hit wildcard. And when somebody just say wildcard, it means asterisk. Now, let's go ahead here, kind of move on, clean this, and that is good. Here, keyboard symbol. There is another one here called a backslash. A backslash, basically, we don't use backslash too much in Linux because that is just something that we use in Windows a lot to basically get something called our path, right? Relative path or absolute path, that relative path or absolute path. And forward slash is basically what we use in Linux a lot. And where can we get those backslash and forward slash on the keyboard? Really, really simple. This is something that I kind of said that you guys should remember, because I've seen students struggling with this. I've seen even some people in the real world, right? Folks in the real world also even struggling with this. This one here is what we call the forward slash. This is what we call the backslash. This is what we call the pipe here. How can we get all elements that are up here? How can we get all these elements? Every single thing that is here, we need to press shift and hit this, and we'll get it. And if it is unmarked, we need to press command. That means if we want to get two dot, we use shift. Double quote, we use shift. Single quote, we just hit this. If we want to have this, we need to press shift, and so on. Now, let me clean and let us move on and see what we have here again. Let us move to the next one. Here, an exclamation point, right? And colon. Go ahead, colon, double quote that I talk about, single quote that I talk about, the semicolon, the comma, semicolon and comma. Guys, pay close attention with all this stuff, because it's like really, like let's say you are working with somebody, and most of the time we basically work remotely, and every time that he's giving you some guideline, he won't be there to look at your keyboard and help you, right? The only thing that he will be doing, he can just say, go ahead and use the curly brace. Please go ahead and use double quote, use the single quote, or press semicolon, put comma here, put forward slash here, put backslash here. And when you don't understand those basics, it is not good. It is not good at all. Now, let's go here. We have another one here called underscore. Underscore also really used in Linux. I use this underscore or dashes or hyphen, underscore, dash, or hyphen, sometime with a naming convention. We know in Windows, if you just want to write I love Linux, right? We don't really care. We can say I love, and we'll put space, and we'll go ahead and say Linux. I love Linux. Everything, you put every word, and you can put space. But in Linux, it doesn't work like that. What are you going to do? You can either use an underscore, you can use underscore or hyphen to separate all those words. Otherwise, if you want to do something like this, for instance, in Windows don't have any issue with this. If you want to create a folder called I love, and you say Linux in Windows, you won't have any issue with this. Windows will go ahead and make sure that it create a folder called I love Linux. But if you try this in Linux, this is not going to work. What will happen here is that Linux is going to create the first folder called I, the second folder called love, and the third folder called Linux. And that is not what you want. And that is why, if you want to avoid that, that is where you need to put hyphen here and another hyphen here to separate all this, or you can either use underscore like this, and Linux will really understand what you want. Linux know that this is basically just one words, right? All this here, it is one word in Linux. And when you create your folder with this name, yeah, that will be the name of your folder. And that is what we use this underscore or hyphen a lot in Linux. Now, let's see. Another one here is kind of equal. Like this is like basic math stuff, right? You say equal, 1 + 1 = 2. And we also have this double equal. This double equal that we use a lot also in IT, and also even in Linux, in programming languages, and so on, right? We are trying to check stuff like equality, stuff like that. And we have this one here called a pound sign or a hash sign. Most of the time when you are on the phone, they say, okay, leave the message, and when you are done, please go ahead and hit the pound sign, right? Pound sign. And let's say you don't really know what pound sign means. What are you going to hit at the end to save your message? You don't know. And everybody needs to know all these things and really know how to manipulate the keyboard. And another one here, it's called the percentage, right? And What is here? The backspace. The backspace, it is something that is really used, especially when you are dealing with command line, right? How are you going to kind of remove some stuff, and where is it located on the keyboard? When we say the backspace, where is it located in the key on the keyboard? The backspace, this is what we call backspace here. On this one, the backspace is called the delete. And here now is called backspace. On this one, it is called delete. What is it used for? Let's say you are kind of dealing with a command line and you write something and you want to erase a portion. For instance, I am here. If I want to erase X, I can just type a backspace, as you guys can see, or delete, and it will go ahead and remove that. And this is really useful in the real world, because you type something and when you want to erase it through the command line, backspace, you guys can see backspace, and you can use the left arrow and you can remove that, use backspace to erase it, right? Because here you cannot just right click here. You don't right click and you say delete. That will not work. You cannot go ahead and you right click, just right click and you delete. That is not possible at all. It is not possible. Now, it is not possible. Let us go ahead here and see what is left here. Now, another one here is called the less than or greater than. Normally, when you are in IT, especially in Linux or any programming language, when you want to compare something, right, you can use this symbol called a less than. This is the less than keyword. The less than, the greater than, the greater than or equal to, the less than or equal to, if you want to check if something is not equal to. And this is another combination here called control and plus. Control and L, control L in Linux mean what? Clear a Linux terminal. I use this myself every single second when I'm working with Linux, every single second, because every single second. Why? In Linux, basically, you can use, we have a command that can basically help us to kind of clear our screen, right? But when you want to type that, that is too long. When I just have something like this, I can go ahead and type the command clear here to clear my screen, clear my terminal. If you hit enter, as you guys can see, it is gone, it clear it. But if you want to be really fast, on my keyboard, I just press Control and I hold, and I'll go ahead and press L. Control L, it will go ahead and clear my screen. And I know, basically in the real world, I have some folks, like I'm working with somebody, the person will never see how I basically cleaned up my screen, and they will ask me, how are you doing that? What is the shortcut? Please let me know how you are doing that, because when they want to do the same thing, they will have to type this command called clear, and this is wasting time, right? Now, I don't do that. I just say Control and L, and that will go ahead and kind of clear my screen, right? And I use that heavily, even for my day-to-day activity at work. Now, let us see what is left again. Let me minimize this one more time. Here, there is another one called Control Shift and T. Please, this combination of the keyboard can save your life. Let me repeat this one. This combination can really save you a ton of time. Let me basically explain what I mean. Let's say here on Google, you open a page, you open YouTube, here you open maybe this website, DevOpsEasyLearning.com, and here you were typing something on YouTube, or you open a Google document and you were typing some stuff, and at some point you close everything by mistake. You close everything by mistake. Let's say by mistake, like I am going through this, I'm using this PowerPoint here to shoot this video, and by mistake, I kind of go ahead and close down my browser. No big deal. I close my browser. What can I do? If you just open this, you guys can see nothing come up. How can I bring everything up? Some folks can go here and try to bring that up, but there is a shortcut. If you press Shift, if you press Control, Shift, and T, and you maintain Control Shift T, it is going to bring every single thing. Let's say you close this by mistake. If you type Control Shift T, it is going to bring it back to you, right? It is really, really useful. Even at work, when I am at work, or even when I'm doing something, maybe on my personal workstation, I can open a lot of pages. I can open a lot of stuff. And when I am done, I just go ahead and close my browser. And the next day, I am going to pick up where I basically left off yesterday. How am I going to do that? When I pull up Google, I just close this like this and I shut down my computer. And the next day, I just pull up Google and no stress, right? I will just go ahead and type Control Shift T. And when I will type this, it will go ahead and pull everything where I was before yesterday, and I can continue working. Let's say you were having like maybe a presentation, something that you were working on, and you can even like just open Google. You are trying to do something, and by mistake you close that website, and you don't even know how to find it anymore, right? You don't know where you get it. There is nothing that you can do at that time because you close your browser already. But if you know these little tips, really simple. You close this, you open this website, you were doing something, and before you find out, you close your browser by mistake. No big deal. Just go ahead and press Command Shift T, or you can go ahead and just press, if you're on Mac, you press Command Shift T. If you're on Windows, you press Control Shift T, right? And it will go ahead and bring everything back. Bring everything back. Now, let's see another one here. We have Control C. Control C also, it is really and heavily used in Linux. I use it a lot, even for my day-to-day activity, because when you are typing some stuff through the command line, and this is how Linux behave. If you want to type this, we call this thing a command in Linux, which is going to kind of list, we call this one list directory, right? Now, let's say I kind of type this, and I don't want to execute this, because if you hit enter, it's going to execute this. If you don't want to execute it, I'll go ahead and type Control C. Control C here just means cancel. I want to cancel the execution of this command. I don't want to execute this command, right? And also you can have an ongoing process, like something. Let's say we use something here called ping. If you say ping www.google.com, and I say google.com to see if this website is up. As you guys can see, it's going to send a package. And as right now, I am kind of, when this is going on, we say, okay, I kind of send a package to the website, and I'm receiving a response from the ping command, right? Which basically means the Google website is up. And this one is something called ongoing process. This one, I cannot stop it. If you're trying to do something, as you guys can see, I hit enter on my keyboard, I can't do anything. If you're trying to type, I can't type. If you do anything, it's not letting me to, it cannot let me do anything. How can I stop this? How can I stop this? I need to stop this and continue my work, right? And that is where Control C is also really, really handy. If you just go ahead now and press Control and hold on and press C, as you guys can see, immediately it is going to cancel that, right? And I can press Control L to basically clear my terminal. I can press that to clear my terminal. Let me repeat one more time. Ping, as you guys can see, ongoing process. If you want to type ls, as you guys can see, it can list something ll, but it cannot even do anything. I can't do anything. I need to cancel that. That is Control C. And that is what this is used for. Very useful when you are working through this CLI. Now, another one here is Control Z. Most of the time, let's say I'm doing some stuff, student will always ask question, what are you doing? Because when I'm using, let's say I have have opened any code editor that I'm trying to write something, or I have my Word document, I'm not there to go and click and say save or copy, paste, just go and say copy and paste. I always use shortcuts, right? I always use shortcuts like Control-C, like Control-Z to undo, and Control-C to copy to clipboard, Control-V, and I'll go ahead and paste from clipboard. We'll go ahead and paste from clipboard. There is two useful keyboard symbol here called the tabulation and also escape. We use this one also heavily through the command line. What is it used for? We have this, let's say the tabulation. Sometimes when you are doing something, somebody say, hey, go ahead and hit tab. Tab is tabulation, right? And normally when you are trying to edit a document, what happens is that you can go ahead and maybe tab to do something. Or in Linux, let's say you are trying to see, like, to check all command that basically start with mkdir. If you do that and tab, as you guys can see, it's going to list all, it will give you all the list of commands that basically start with mkdir. Like, for instance, if you also want to see all command that start with user, if you tab, you guys will see here that we have a user del. And if you are not a Linux guy yet, you will not understand this, right? Because Linux basically have everything through the command line, built-in command. You can find everything in here if you really know how to use Linux efficiently, right? That is where you can use tab. And also, this is also really, really important when you want to type something. Let's say I want to kind of move into this directory called script. If I say cd, because we use cd command to change directory, I can just type S and C, and I type tab. This one, we call this one in Linux auto-completion. And auto-completion is really, really useful. Let's say I can have a directory here that we mentioned last time, like maybe hyphen love and hyphen, and I say Linux, for instance, and I hit enter, it was going to create just a folder. And let's say I want to change my directory into that folder. This is where if I say cd and say I can just press just I and tab. As you can see, auto completion, guys. This, when you use this, right, you are really, like, you can speed up your work through the command line. You are really fast. You are really, really fast with tab. Now, there is another useful one again called escape. Escape basically will be really, really useful when we start working with something like a Vim, like a text editor that we have in Linux called Vim, right? Because when you get into Vim and you are trying to edit some stuff, there are times that you need to move to some stuff called command line mode and also insert mode, right? And you really, really know where to go and find that escape on the keyboard. And also, where it is tab on the keyboard, here on the keyboard, this is where we can find all those. If you get here, escape, it is right here. The escape button and the tabulation, the tab button is here. The tab button, it is also not this one. The tab button here is right here, right? Right here. This is where you can just put like just lock your keyboard to uppercase, and you can unlock and move to lowercase. Now, let me clean up again, and I think we are almost at the end. Let me see the last stuff here. We are almost at the end. Now, the arrow, we talk a little bit about the up arrow, the down arrow, the left arrow, and the right arrow, right? This is our little navigation panel that basically allows us to navigate. And here, the lock, the numeric lock. Numeric lock also is something that I've seen sometimes folks are struggling a little bit with it. Let's say they are trying to type something, and this keyboard, this element here, it is not, you are not, you see this one here, which is a numeric lock, right? Numeric lock here, it is not, the light is not showing there, it's not really activated, right? And they are trying to type anything here like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It will not shows up, right? It will not shows up, and you need to go ahead, you lock and you unlock. When you lock and you unlock, and you go ahead and see maybe some lights will go ahead and change here and say, hey, you are ready to type. And when it's locked, you cannot type, right? You cannot type, and I've seen people struggle. Look like, hey, this is not working. I can't press 1. I can't press 2. Why? You need to make sure that you lock here and unlock. And unlock. Now, last stuff is what? Is the control S. The control S, basically, we use that just to save. And the control Y is called redo. As you undo with control Z, you can also use, as you undo here, as you undo with control Z, you can also use a control Y here to redo, right? You undo and redo. Please, this was just a simple video for absolutely beginners. That means those who are trying to transition into IT, and also they want to learn how to use the keyboard, because it is really, really important. Here, what I just teach you guys here is just to know the names, right, of those keyboard symbols, so that when you are somewhere and when somebody call the name, then you understand what it means and how you can get it on the keyboard, and where you can find it, and how you can basically punch it, right? Because sometimes some folks will find something, but they won't be able to punch it, because like I explained, let's say you want to get everything that is above, like you have a keyboard, everything that is here above. Some folks, they will know that they need to press the shift if they are on Windows before they can access everything that is here. And on Mac, they will not, some folks will not know that they need to press the command before they can access everything that is here, or every single thing that we have here, or every single thing that we have here, right? And that's it for this videos, guys. If this video was really informative, please let me know in the comment below. And also, guys, if you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go ahead and do so that if we publish a new content, you will go ahead, or a new video, you will be notified. Thank you. Bye-bye.